So there were some like key things that we wanted to be sure to like include in kind of like our testimony about sacrament of marriage, and kind of the first thing that we wanted to go over is like why we wanted to get why we were called to marriage, why we were like why we were called to marry like each specific person, and then like how God kind of factors into all of that. So Brigid, I'll let you start, please.
Sure. So ever since I was a little girl, I felt called to marriage. Like my parents are both from really big families. My dad's one of 9 kids. My mom's one of 4. I'm one of 5 kids. So family's just really big for me. Both of them came from, really good parents. So marriage has always been something that I've been called to. I've also been always called to be a mom and have a family. I would say, like, I did think about holy orders. It wasn't like, it's just like, nope, because I'm actually named after 2 nuns, Brigid and Therese. And so I was like, I of course thought about it. I never had that calling. And I've always just heard that if God really wants you there, he's going to call you there. And I just always felt called to be married.
Yeah, and so I also like went through like a time of discernment, especially like in like my later high school years and into college. Like I really gave like a lot of thought towards pursuing the priesthood. It was a real option, and then as corny as this is going to sound, and trust me, I know you're either going to go oh or you're like eh. I had a dream of I was at a park and I was pushing a little girl on a set of swings, and she kept saying, "Higher, Daddy, higher." And then I woke up and I was like, I want nothing more than to make this true. But I have a boy who doesn't talk a whole lot, but he does want to go higher. And so I really felt as though like continuing my faith journey in that path towards passing my faith along to the next generation was going to be a big part of that. And so why did we choose each other? I'm going to start on this one because it's going to be funnier that way. So I grew up in a household that had a mixed faith marriage. So my mom's Catholic. My dad, to call him agnostic would be charitable. But he is not a big fan of organized religion. So it caused some friction in our family. And I knew that the Catholic faith was very important to me, and I wanted none of that friction. So I was like, I'm going to find me a good Catholic girl. And where's better place to find her than at church? So that's where I looked. It's a great place to pick up ladies. Gentlemen, take notes. So Brigid and I met here at Life Team. And we I kind of through machinations of my own, kind of set up situations that the two of us would like be around each other, be like, oh, do you need help cleaning up stuff? I'll go help you. Hey, why don't you sit next to me at dinner? Stuff like that, It's all my idea. Because I saw that she was very caring and loving. She sometimes wears her heart on her sleeve, but she cares about the people around her. She's very nurturing. And those were qualities that I wanted for my future kids. And so now she is caring and loving and super supportive of this little guy who loves her very much, more than me, and I'm not salty about it.
I'm favorite parents.
Being favorite parent is hard, trust me.
So for me, I had a lot of relationships. I dated people who were Catholic, not Catholic, agnostic, Christian, but not Catholic. And I realized that was really hard. There were like 2 people before Ethan that I was like, maybe this could be the person I marry. The first one was Christian, but they did not understand my Catholic faith. Almost to the point where they found it offensive. I just remember like, it was an Easter Sunday and I was like, I have to go to Easter Mass. It's like the most important day of the year. And he could not accept that going to his church for Easter was okay. And I was like, this is my faith and I'm a very strong believer in it. So this is no way. The other one was agnostic, and I just didn't want to raise a family. I knew I wanted a family, and having to be with someone who's not going to believe at all would be really difficult in raising a family, because I'd always be like, well, what if my kid's like, oh, but daddy doesn't go to church, or daddy doesn't believe that, and that would just break my heart, because I want to, that's something I feel called to as well, is to nurture my family and those around me in my faith. So Ethan and I met here, like you said. I was called to youth group. I love kids, love teenagers. Through Liz, so I met her first. And I remember that, like, I had met Ethan here, but I really saw him for the first time when he was giving a proclaim. And I was like, hello, who's this? Like, look at me. Like, God was like, this one. And it really stole my attention. And I remember, he says he had all these affirmations. It was totally my idea. I remember he was like, I go to 7 a.m. Mass. And I was like, I'll just go to 7 a.m. Mass. And Ethan will sit next to me. And that didn't happen. And just different things of him being like, oh, I'm gonna be on this part of the Halloween game thing, and I was like, I'm gonna be his partner. And I remember right before we started dating, I was actually texting my best friends, and I was like, I've met the person I'm going to marry, and we're married now. Yeah. So it's just really cool. I know a big question a lot of people ask is like, how do you know that's the one? And like a lot of dating nowadays is like games. I don't know if you guys are probably familiar with that. It's like, oh, you gotta make sure you text them at the right time and not too much because it's too clingy or all that. There was none of that with us. It was just very natural. It was very healthy. There was no toxic anything. And it was like, when you know, it's like you're past that point of, if I make a mistake, is this person still gonna love me? Am I ruin my relationship? It's like, you're past that point. It's like, no, it's like this person is with you through thick and thin. That's when you know. There's no question of, is this a game? It's not.
Yeah, there was a point in our relationship where, like, in the beginning, I had like, could I imagine what my life would be like without Brigid? Yes, of course. What was I happy? Maybe not. But like, I could imagine. And then a point came where it was like, I could no longer imagine what my life would be like without. And I still came to this day. So that's when I knew that it was time to put a ring on it, seal the deal.
Honestly, I used to say I never believed in soulmates. Like, there's so many fish in the sea. There's so many options. And like, there's never one true like way. But when Ethan and I got together, I was like, I believe in soulmates now because God knew it for me.
Yeah. And so where does God fit into all of this? He is in those moments when things aren't so great. Because let me tell you, nothing will have you running to God like the times in your life when things aren't going to plan.
And I'm not in control.
And you're not in control. Like, perfect example, our little guy right here, he spent his first 3 days of life in the NICU. He had some problems.
He was really big.
He was huge. So he was born at like 10 pounds and some change, which.
For context, most babies are like 6 to 7, 8 pounds at most.
He's a champion. So is she. I was there. But for the first few days, he was in the NICU, and they're like, "Hey, if these numbers don't come up, like we're gonna have to keep him here." And he's like hooked up to all these wires and stuff like that. And I have never prayed harder in my life. I was like, it was like, I will do anything, or just like tell me what I need to do, like whatever. It's in your hands. Tell me what I need to do to get my baby well. Like, it's in those moments that we lean on each other, and then when both of us are going through a rough time, we lean on each other hand in hand. He's the third part of the triangle, because the triangle is the strongest shape in nature.
It's we go to mass every Sunday. It's a really big part of our relationship with God, being part of that foundation for us. Anytime like you said, anytime we go through something really hard and we make a really big decision, we really do our best to trust God and feel that calling. Instead of like, when we don't know, we're like, okay, what are we feeling here? Where was being guided? And then we trust in that decision.
Yeah, and like she said, going to mass is an important part of our relationship. I think over the 6 years that we've been together, through like dating and marriage and everything like that, like there's been a handful of Sundays where like Brigid's sick, or I'm sick, or like one of us is on a trip or something like that, and we're not together, and like I have to go to mass without her. It is weird. Like at first you'd be like, oh, well, I don't have a distraction. I can like focus on mass. I don't have to like have Brigid lean over me and go, what did he say? And stuff like that. But like the whole time I'm like it's something's missing. It's like where's Brigid? Because sharing, like the Eucharist is like such an important part of my life, and I want to share it with her. Yeah, that's right, guys. I want to share it with her. And so when she's not there, I definitely feel it. So does Liz.
Of course he would.
Except for that one time that you were sick, he was with me.
Yeah. Any questions?
We're gonna do questions. Questions after. Hold your questions. Remember them. Keep them in your mind palace. Call them up later.
Awesome. Thank you.